Is he burning and driving? I think I may be burning him down. I don't think he's got an FPE. Look at that. That is absolutely marvelous. I think he's gonna die. He's still burning. Okay. There he goes. Beautiful. Alright everyone, hello and welcome back to another episode on War Thunder with me, Spacefish, and welcome to this beautiful, beautiful puppy. Welcome to the Leopard 2K. Now, this very fancy thing, which has for the last few months been the very essence of my dreams in War Thunder, we finally unlocked live on the last stream, and we already had a few games with it, and well, in between then and now I've also spent a bit of time and actually grinding out a few modifications so we can get this thing in shape on time to get a review going for you all. So, the Leopard 2K then. German main battle tank coming in a rank of 6 and a battle rating of 9.7. Which, that battle rating we will be talking a bit more in just a second, because I think it is a very special and very nice battle rating for this tank to be at. You do, for starters, get a 120mm cannon, which, well, you do not initially get APF SDS rather for you. You do start out with HeatFS, so very much has that usual issue ever since Gaijin made the change to what these kinds of tanks now start with. You can get the APF SDS bullet for this tank at rank 1 though, and it is the only one that you can get, so very much a recommendation to instantly grind for that. On top of that, you do get a 20mm cannon, which I guess, at least for me, this tank is almost famous and dreaded for, because this cannon is so versatile and so awesome to have, you know. Even when your cannon is out of order, like your main cannon is out of order, you can absolutely shred lighter enemy armor. You can absolutely shred, most crucially, enemy main battle tanks' cannons if yours is currently out of order or reloading, which has saved me already a bunch of times, and you can absolutely shred about any helicopter or plane you see if those shots do connect. This thing is absolutely awesome. And do you know what the best part is about this secondary gun? Even if your commander dies, it still remains usable. I've gotten this tank all the way down to 2 crew members previously, and the cannon still remains operable. I guess the gunner still retains control over it, and you can still fully use it. It does not become inoperable if you lose crew members, which is absolutely awesome. And yeah, I couldn't praise this thing as enough. It's absolutely great. On top of that, you do get the usual things, you know, like the 8 smoke grenades, which you do unlock at tier 3 in the modifications table. You do get a coax 7.62mm machine gun, which is nothing special to talk about. Turret rotation speed, vertical guidance, all that good stuff is honestly quite decent. It's not the fastest turning turret in the world, not the slowest one. Same for the gun traverse up down. It is alright, it's good, it's acceptable. The vertical guidance, as usual with German tanks, is, well, magnificent. I've never really had any big problems with it, as opposed to more like Russian tanks and stuff, so nothing to complain about there. Reloading rate is currently for me at 7.8 seconds. Please keep in mind, of course, my crew is not maxed out, but my loader is at 4.5 in terms of weapon reloading, commander 2.5, and then of course I don't have the qualification for that tank yet, so you know, you can certainly improve that a bit more, but you will not go that crazy with reload here. It is, it's alright, I would say. Certainly not fast, certainly not crazily slow either. Somewhere in the mid-range, it is totally fine. For armor on this tank, you get absolutely nothing. This is still very much in the spirit of what you would think of for like a Leopard A1A1 or an L44 or C2A1. So, I mean, while you do get a tad bit of armor, and certainly, I mean, machine gun fire, you won't have any issues with. You can already see that in total, you know, this effective thickness doesn't really add up to much. And while you do get here and there a bunch of spaced armor with some cast and rolled armor all over the place around here. This really doesn't amount to much of anything. I mean, even Heat of S won't have any issues going through, so nothing really crazy to talk about there. But I think that's the usual spirit of the German tanks, well, of the earlier modern German tanks that of course evolves once you get higher up in the Leopard lineup. But for the time being, don't expect much of any sturdiness out there with that. Commander optics, I have to say, are quite decent. Just quickly look at that. You've got some decent zoom. Very, very happy with that overall. Sight FOV, I would say, is also very acceptable. You do get night vision to research on this tank, rather obviously, I would say at this tier. But crucially, you do not get the option of thermal sights in this thing yet. So that's actually something where, you know, something like the C2A1 does have an advantage, and a lot of other tanks at this tier do have an advantage because they're, I mean, I would say that thermal sights at this tier are probably really, really common. You know, the T-72 AV Terms-T has it, a Gen 2 even, mind that. The XM1 has that, so that is probably one of the bigger disadvantages of this tank, that you do still have to rely on common optics. As I said, you know, night vision, you do get that. Should you run into night battles, you won't be totally lost, but you will not have thermal imaging, unfortunately. Now, other than that, this thing being rather lightly armored, it comes in at a mass of only 50 tons, which I would say is rather acceptable. Engine power for me currently is at 1,368 horsepower, which is very, very decent. Most certainly at that tier for that mass. You can push it up even further. If we have a quick look at the modifications table here, you can see transmission and engine I still have yet to research, and that will get you to around 1,500 horsepower in the very end. So absolutely decent, max speed being at 70 kilometers an hour, which well, in RB, if you find a very long proper straight, you can actually nearly get up to that speed. On land, you know, I would say something like a 40, 45, maybe even 50 if you go slightly downhill is what is going to be realistic. But overall, the tank is really very decently fast, I would say, and very, very nicely maneuverable. Now, neutral steering, I am not 100% sure this tank has that already. I've had some issues sometimes turning in one spot. That's really, I have to say, not the fastest thing in the world with this thing, so something to keep in mind there maybe. If we have a quick look at the transmission, you can see that forwards as well as backwards you have the 8 gears, you have the same speed that you go whatever direction you may want to go, so that is absolutely magnificent at the same time. Now, quickly looking at modifications, I already glanced over a few of these things. DM13 being the only APFSDS bullet that you do get for this tank, you have coming in at you in the first tier already. Me, myself, I actually went for that before the parts in the FPE, which is kind of painful because this does take a lot of research points. I think when we started working away at this in the stream, I was like looking at this, and you can basically get parts, FPE, and half of something else researched before you have finished DM13. So it does take a bit of research points, but it's very much useful. I really kind of somewhat struggled with Heat of S, not saying I didn't get any kills, but it was certainly a bigger difference, and the APFSDS is just so much of a godsend in this tier. Like, you don't really want to be missing it. Other than that, nothing really special, all the usual things that you would expect at this tier. You know, smoke grenades down here, laser rangefinder you do very much get on this tank, and it also of course nicely gets relayed then to the cannon itself, and the cannon gets auto adjusted for the ranges that you range find, which does, by the way, also work without having the laser rangefinder, of course, just through the usual estimation by your gunner. So something interesting to keep in mind. And well, then of course the night vision I already touched upon. For the 20mm cannon, you can quickly see the stats here if you may be interested in that. You know, HVAP shells even in that, which is very, very interesting, and a bit of a mix between that and high explosives. So you have pretty decent performance against armor as well as flying targets. And well, we will see that in game later. Very happy with that gun. it is absolutely marvelous and a great, great thing to have, and I would never really want to ever go without it again, to be honest. Other than that, DM13, just to quickly glance over the stats too, of course, CTFS, you do get the 480 mils of pen at every range, but you do have to keep in mind that especially Russian armor is very nicely armored against these kinds of chemical rounds, and thus, honestly, at this tier, they do very much lose their effectiveness against stuff like APFSDS, which this DM13 that you gets you up to 390 millimeters of pen. Not the craziest stats. Bear in mind, there's certainly very much stronger bullets available here for the later German tanks, but at this tier that this thing comes in at, I would say it is rather solid. Now, speaking about tier at which this thing comes in at, I've already also touched upon that quickly in the stream. As I previously said, you come in at a battle rating of 9.7, and I think that is a very crucial one, because for me personally, the Leopard 2K really tops off a very nice and all-round German loadout at a tier where with the Leopard 2K, you're almost always really going to be top tier. So why is that? If we look into army right here, most of these tanks that are going to be like top tier in War Thunder, like as far as it goes, are going to be 11.0. Now, we all know that you really can only get up tiered by one whole tier or down tiered by one whole tier. So if you keep your lineup below 9.7, you're not going to meet 11.0 tanks. But the thing is that there is very little in terms of like 10.0 to 10.7 tanks that you are realistically going to meet. Of course, sure, there's a few Abrams and a few IPM ones, and of course, sure, you know, the Russians do have a few tanks here in and between, you know, but overall, these games I have really found are mostly pretty rare. For me thus far, I would say 85 to 90% of the time always been the top tier tank with my Leopard 2K, which is why I find this thing even more beautiful, because of course that means that you can kind of leverage your strengths even more, being like due to the fact that you're more of a top of the food chain. And the German loadout here that you can eventually go for really caters to that, because of course you get the Roland, which is also perfectly spot on 9.7. You get stuff like the TAM2C, the RAD, that you can very nicely mix into these loadouts, and just in the very end get a very nice and all-round, very effective loadout. Of course, always, you know, nicely tipped off with a beautiful G91 at its 8.7 battle rating that can absolutely obliterate ground targets, and that's why I'm also a big fan of this, because the battle rating that you do get, along with what you can do with this tank, which I think it is a very potent tank, just make this a very nice tank to have to top out your own 9.7 German loadout. So yeah, that maybe for a quick or also not so quick introduction to this tank. I think I've already rambled on for long enough. Just going to quickly show you the X-ray though before we actually hop into the game. We hadn't had that yet. Nothing really crazy out here. You can see driver down here, everybody else chilling up in the turret as usual. Rather crammed, not crazily though. I don't think that you can usually take out all the crew in one shot. That is a very rare sight, except for when somebody shoots you down through here and takes out gunner, commander, and driver in one shot. The ammo loadout being very much reminiscent of the earlier Leopards, with the the first stage ammo storage being up here in the turret and nicely standing up and being easily hittable, and then the second stage ammo storage being up front right here, and that's why usually I think resort to about 24 bullets, which gets you 2 rows of ammo right here, and then of course the full first stage ammo storage. But with that said then, and me being done rambling on, let's go and hop into some footage. Let's hopefully have some fun games and show you what this thing is all about. Alright everyone, so welcome to Eastern Europe, and you can see that this tank does indeed not have neutral steering, just as I was suspecting before then, so turning on one spot actually being rather slow. But we are on the small variant of this map, and what I think we're going to do is we're going to try and have a very quick dash across the map here to attempt and get on the flank with a speed that we can leverage on these streets. Now, how well we will be doing, let's see. I'm sort of worried about that happening to me. Ow. That was absolutely close. That was insanely close. I've got no clue what just tried to murder me, but that was certainly not a nice experience. But you can see that those 70 kilometers an hour that the game was showing you right there is actually not all too unrealistic. We're already up to 68 kilometers an hour here, and not really struggling. Uphill, of course, slowing down a bit, but overall, I would say this is very much a realistic thing that you can hit in realistic battles, which I would say, honestly, is a rare sight. You know, usually that is not something that happens very often. Now, I'm going to try and really zoom around the map here. I'm kind of expecting there's going to be someone off to the side here, and we may very well get murdered, because we did, of course, previously already get a missile lobbed our way, and now some bullet got lobbed our way, so we will see how well this actually works, but we will try and get behind the enemy lines here. Not snipe into the spawn, of course, that would be kind of terrible, but we're gonna try and see if we can kill people from behind from out here. That's gonna be an interesting one. Wow, we were really fast. And, well, that's probably going to be the way to go for us here. One good point to actually really highlight here too, with this tank, by the way, is that this 20mm cannon is actually super helpful also in getting rid of all kind of obstacles in your way. Like, even if you run into any, well, solid kind of walls that you could usually run down with a tank, you can just, you know, get rid of that using the 20mm cannon and not slow yourself down in return, so that is also quite the useful aspect here and there. Valley, which we cannot really hit, and then there's a tank right there. Beautiful. T-72AV out of the way, absolutely magnificently clapped in the face. That is, of course, very, very beautiful indeed. Now, what do we have going on out here? Not too much that I can currently see. Does seem there's some tank in there that I can also not see just yet. Oh. Too late. I was too slow. I think that really concludes that part, to be honest. Like, no real reason to keep steering that way. Oh? Has he seen someone? No. Cool. We will conclude our endeavors over there. I think most of the action is probably going to go down on this ridgeline that we're already on. And, well, below that on A. So, well, we'll have to see here. Maybe we can just sort of help covering off A a bit against tanks that push into it. Then again, there seems to be quite the need for me to help out up front here, so let's maybe just do that and go help. It's like two tanks right around the corner here, it appears. Oh, never mind, there's one right there as well. Hello. Goodbye. I found him. It's one out of the way, I suppose. We'll go and perch up around here. Actually, kind of a bit of a curious spot. Oh. Is he dead? He looks very dead to me. Damn it. You were a second too late. There is, though, if we can check the tank up there somewhere, which you do not currently see. So we're just going to poke our heads back in. It also appears to be tank right out there, which we absolutely did not pen just now. So that's kind of terrible. There we go, crit. I think I got a strike. The issue is, I don't really see him here. He could be anywhere down there. Ow! Well, there goes my barrel. That was painful. He's certainly not the only one shooting me from down there. So, I got his driver, but that's about it. We're not going to peek that again all too soon, I don't think. Do you hear somebody down below me, do I not? Is he burning? Is he burning and driving? I think I may be burning him down. I don't think he's got an FPE. Look at that. That is absolutely marvelous. I think he's going to die. He's still burning. Okay. There he goes. Beautiful. We do have an issue behind us, though. A rather major one, may I say. There's absolutely heaps of enemies behind us. Which is quite the issue. We're also in a very tight spot in which we can't really easily turn, given our lack of neutral steering, but this is very worrying indeed. We're going to go and push back a bit and try and get these guys from the flank, because I don't think they expect us to still be here, to be honest. Hopefully. If they do, that is a rather bad thing for us, of course. But, wow. What in the world happened here? Is there any enemies remaining, or are they all dead?
The victory is near.
I certainly don't hear or see anyone anymore. I think we're going to go around here. Just kind of check the perimeter, try and not die doing so. Oh, somebody just got killed out there. There he is. Oh no! He had a friend! There is a friend. Okay. Let's mark that quickly for our teammate before we get kicked out. But that was a decent match, I would say. That was quite fun. What in the world people are thinking sometimes, I don't know. He also instantly went to die, of course. Uh-oh. This may be a good opportunity for the 20 mil right there. Instantly crit him and then messed him up. So absolutely beautiful. But our gun just got murked. So we will have to go and fix that for all 40 seconds. Is there another chopper coming in? Oh boy. Another opportunity for the 20 mil, I guess. Or for me to die. There we go! Never try and murder the 2K, buddy. The 20 mil is gonna win. Oh boy, I love this flippin' secondary gun. I'm telling you, that is so magnificent. We just instantly pop that guy after instantly critting the other. That's the dead guy out there. But yeah, I mean, that's absolutely great. That's just some great performance from the 20 mil. It's quite insane, that. Gonna chill here. Crit gunner turret. Driver. Did not kill him.
Attention to the designated grid square.
Loader turret drive. Come on! Can I kill people, actually? That would be great. We're just chilling back here where most of them do not expect us for the time being, so that's good, but still. Not all too great, this. Gotta watch out here somewhat. Just gonna play it very slowly and bank on the fact that they don't know where I'm at. Like that dude, for example. So, yeah, let's see how that goes. Not sure how particularly well it is going to be going, given that a G91 is just approaching me on top of my head right now. Woo! No, no, no! Rip. That was not a G91 though. But yeah, that sucks. Good thing. Oh, we have a backup though. So... Ooh, who you? I think we're going to have to shield off against that guy moving in. Very, 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 very quickly right now. How's he? Wow. He's just zooming. Oh my lordy lord. Gonna try and shoot down that plane again. Crit. Ah, there goes the overheat, unfortunately. But I think we took out his engine, did we? He's struggling. Not struggling enough, though, it seems. Unfortunate that... Huh. I think the zoomy guy was taken out, so that's good at least. There he goes! Beautiful! You can see the fire up there. We just took out an airplane with those 20 mils. I told you that was possible. And you really just need 1 or 2 hits to connect for a jet to absolutely go blab. We all know they're rather fragile, so, yeah. You can very much play anti-air with this thing if you really, really badly need to and are in a precarious situation. And I think that was even the guy that killed us in the first place, so nice bit of payback there for us as well. Alright everyone, welcome back to the main menu then, and welcome back for a quick summary of this beautiful and magnificent tank. So I think I was hopefully able to showcase some of the strengths of this thing. Now I have not had the craziest rounds of all time, but I would say there was some very solid ones in between. I was also, I hope, very beautifully able to showcase just how great it is to have that 20mm secondary cannon that never really stops working unless the tank is getting destroyed. So, I don't know, you know, we shot down so many helis and planes, we killed a bunch of tanks, we very much, I think, also showed that the cannon is very appropriately strong for this battle rating and is able to deal with just about anything as long as you do get the DM13. Now that does have a little bit more bullet drop, I would say, than you're usually used to from APFSDs at this tier, but it is very, very usable overall, and well, the maneuverability and the speed of this tank, except for the fact that it is missing neutral steering, I would argue, are also very, very great and enjoyable. So from my side, I think you already heard it from the intro as well, very certain recommendation to try and go for that tank and try and forge your own 9.7 German loadouts. I would honestly say myself that that's a very, very great sweet spot that this tank tops off in the German line out. So certainly a recommendation to try and look at that and try and see how that does for you. And well, I hope you will be enjoying this tank just as much as me. I think it is absolutely magnificent and you should not skip it at all ever, and certainly instead enjoy this very beautiful machine and just how efficient and fun it really is. But yeah, so that is about it on this tank. I very much hope you, of course, enjoyed the video. As usual, if you did, please make sure to hit that like button down below. That does always help out a ton with the discoverability on YouTube. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, also please consider subscribing right down below, as well as hitting that bell icon in order to stay up to date on all the future upcoming episodes. But with all those things out of the way then, as usual everybody, thank you so much for watching this episode on War Thunder, and I hope I will catch you in the next one very, very soon. Ciao.